Port Lockroy, which some of you might have heard of. Anyone heard of Port Lockroy?
Yes.
Couple of people, yes. Couple of people know. Again, I will explain a little bit more about Port Lockroy shortly. So these places are situated on the western side of an island, which is spelt Winke Island. It's spelt W-I-N-C-K-E. That will not be how you pronounce it, but you can pronounce it however you like, because I'm not actually quite sure on the pronunciation. This particular area was discovered by the French Antarctic Expedition of 1903 to 1905. Anyone know who led that expedition? Jean-Baptiste Charcot. So Jean-Baptiste Charcot was the head of this expedition, which discovered this general area at the bottom of the Neumaar Channel there. In terms of what it looks like from above, this is Damoy. It does have penguin colonies. We will be landing here on this northern side, so the bay is on the northern side of the landing site, and then we have nesting areas for Gen 2 penguins and a few huts, which I will explain in a moment. And again, a bit like today, there will be an opportunity to walk up to a viewpoint where you can have fantastic views over the bay. Now, in particular, this area is rather famous for some huts, and there are actually two huts here. One is an Argentinian hut, this one in red. This one here in this green-blue colour is actually a British hut. And it has been used in the past, and its initial building was used as a transit station to support researchers, scientists who were travelling further south. In particular, below the Arctic Circle, on Adelaide Island, there is a research base called the Rothera Research Station. And during the early summer, it's extremely difficult to get to because there is too much ice. But what they actually did here was they built a runway for planes that were able to come in, people have a rest, pick up supplies, and then continue on down to Rothera. And this meant that instead of purely relying on sailing down there, scientists, researchers were able to spend time further down in Antarctica much earlier in the summer compared to before this refuge hut was built. So it does play an important part in Antarctic research in years gone by. So very, very important history there. It's actually been designated a historic site and a monument since the year 2009, and it's currently managed by the UK Antarctic Heritage Trust. And it does act as a little museum as well. Now, when you go ashore tomorrow, this hut will not be blue-green because in 2023, it was actually restored to its original colour of a bright orange. So there was a conservation project which was designed to restore this hut to its former glory. So you will not see it in this blue-green colour. It'll be a lovely orange. And this took a team around 4 weeks when they camped down here, restoring it and painting it this lovely bright colour. Yes. So this is what it will look like tomorrow. You can see very, very different. Sometimes it is possible to go inside. However, we're at the mercy of nature. And underneath the hut, you actually quite frequently get nesting penguins. And of course, if there are nesting penguins there, that means we cannot go inside the hut because we have to leave them be. So especially this time of the season, we do find it occupied. So we just have to enjoy it from a respectful distance to the penguins. There will be a team member there to make sure everyone knows what they're looking at, and of course to point out any penguins which are nesting there. So the landing site will look a little different than today. So today you swung your legs out onto some rocks. Tomorrow you will be landing in the water, but it is shallow, okay? So you will be absolutely fine, but rather than climbing directly onto rocks, you will be in a shallow bay, and then you can just simply walk onto the shore. There is again a little incline where expedition team members will be ready to help you up. Walking poles and everything, just like today, will be there waiting for you. Up over the viewpoint area, this is the view over the bay. So this is actually where you can see the boats, a rocky shore, and then if there is this much snow, you will be delighted to know that we do have the ability to carve steps with shovels in the snow. So we can make some steps for you, and then you can make your way up onto the landing site, where, as I mentioned, there are nesting gentoo penguins. So if you haven't had enough of gentoos, you can have some more tomorrow, watching them do all of the silly things that they do. Did anyone see any projectile pooping today? Yes! They're very good at that, even accidentally aiming at each other. So yes, penguins are not always this lovely white and clean. And again, there are various rookery points scattered around the landing site. We will go ashore first, as we did today, and mark out a route for you. And you'll all know by now, when we have those crossed red flags, that means not to go beyond that point. But the team will be there to help you out. There are also some other birds nesting there as well. Lots of you have pointed out this bird today. This is actually the South Polar Skua. So we do see them around penguin colonies a lot. They will feed on or prey on young chicks they can grab, but of course they also have to nest themselves. So sometimes we see nesting skuas. They are incredible birds if they're not the penguins' favourite anyway. And again, there is always the chance that we will be around these penguin highways, and I actually saw some really nice waiting from everybody today when I was ashore watching the penguins pass. So keep it up, good job. And so we will be spending the afternoon there. We will actually be having the morning doing some scenic sailing with an onboard program, and then you will be doing your landing there in the afternoon. And just around the corner from Damoy, we have this little area here. It's a historic base called Port Lockroy, which was actually established, it's a British base. It was established in World War II in 1944. And it was actually operational until 1962, whereby everyone sort of left it and it fell to disrepair. Fortunately, the British Antarctic Heritage Trust actually took this project up as a base, and in 1996 they restored it. So there are actually now researchers living there, carrying out vital research down here on the Antarctic Peninsula, especially in relation to the penguin colonies that actually are literally situated just around Port Lockroy. Unfortunately, it's not somewhere we can visit anymore. They did used to allow visits before COVID, but since then it's something they no longer offer. However, the team should be coming on board tomorrow afternoon. So we will have some of the residents there coming on board, and they will be giving a Port Lockroy presentation, which we of course encourage you to attend, and we will record it as well. Another reason Port Lockroy is famous, it is actually the world's southernmost post office. Yes, don't you know? So if you have either painted your own postcard, happen to have a postcard in your suitcase, or want to purchase one from reception, you can do so, and then you can hand it back into reception and it will get posted from Port Lockroy. Give or take a few weeks or a few months, it will eventually hopefully arrive to wherever you've sent it to. So if you want to receive your own postcard from Antarctica or send one to someone, tomorrow is the day. I'm not sure what the deadline will be for getting the post off that evening, but if you don't have time to bring your postcard back to reception tomorrow, don't worry, still bring it back, because when we come back next time, we will drop it off in the next mail order. If you're gonna wait 2 months, what's another 10 days or so? So don't worry. Does that sound good for everybody? Yes. Fantastic. So just to confirm, tomorrow morning, we will have an onboard program and some scenic sailing. So by that I mean we will just be sailing up towards the Naimar Channel. Spectacular scenery. If the weather's like today, please do go outside. It's the best place to be, in my opinion. And of course, we will have our landing beginning later in the afternoon. Just a few reminders from today that I picked up, also feedback from yourselves as well. Please do not come down to the tender pit area, so deck 3, until your group is called, because sometimes we do have delays and it means that we don't end up with multiple groups down there at the same time. So these timings you see here are approximate, so we will be starting with the Orca group around 2 o'clock, but wait until you hear that announcement. Furthermore, we do not make announcements on the outside decks here in Antarctica because it is considered noise pollution and will disturb the wildlife. So what we recommend is around your approximate time, maybe 10 minutes before, make sure you are in a public area on deck 4 or any of the higher decks, and then you'll be able to hear those announcements. We are aware that we are having some problems with the in-cabin announcement, so the best place to be around that approximate time is in the public areas inside. Is that okay for everybody? Yep. Perfect. So again, these timings are approximate. If we have a significant delay, we will announce it, of course, but if it is 14:04 and we haven't quite called you yet, don't worry, we're probably just a couple of minutes behind. We also have more activities going on tomorrow. So we are taking out some snowshoers tomorrow. Who signed up for snowshoeing? Yes. So if you have been selected for snowshoeing, it should be showing in the booking section in your app, actually with the specific date of the 21st. Yes, 21st of January. If you click on that, it will tell you what group you are in. So it will either be group A, B, C, or D. All of these groups are also listed in the daily program as well. You will be meeting in the expedition launch area on deck 3. So basically the only place that you can get off the ship in Antarctica, where you went down today. Just a reminder, you will be given your snowshoes down there, and you must still wear your black rubber boots. So no sneakers, trainers. The snowshoes will fit on your black rubber boots. What you might notice tomorrow, if you are snowshoeing, it will clash with your landing time. But that is because you are going to the same landing site and taking a slightly longer additional routes on areas where it is good to walk with the snowshoes. And then you will come back via the huts, so you will still get to see that. So if you go, it's at the same time as my landing. That is deliberate, so it isn't a case of doing both. It is scheduled that way so that if you are a snowshoeing orca, you will be snowshoeing at the time the orcas are ashore. Okay? Perfect. So that is snowshoeing. Again, we have more kayak groups going out as well. Kayak groups D and E, one at 1:15, one at 5:15. And with these, we have arranged it so that you can also do your landing. So if you're in the first group there, group D, look for the timing for the leopard seals to join in with their landing. Group E, you will join the humpback whales. And again, if you click on the kayaking groups in the app, it will tell you which group you can join as well, in case you forget in a couple of minutes after I have finished speaking. Just again, as I've had several questions today, if you're kayaking, what do you need? You need your thermal base layers on, a hat, sunglasses, sun cream as well. You will be given a fleecy all-in-one and your dry suit and some kayak booties down there. So you just need to wear some flip-flops or sneakers down to the expedition launch area if you are kayaking. All clear? Perfect. And remember, for the kayaking and the snowshoeing, we will not make announcements for those. So just go down at the time and then everything should run smoothly. If there are delays, that is when we will make an announcement. And then we have these science boats as well. One group at 1:30, one group at 8, and you will meet by the main elevators on deck 4. So there will be a member of the science team looking all sciencey. Go find them, and then they will take you out to the boats. All good? Wonderful. One additional note is that we actually have now drawn the lottery for the camping. So again, you can check that in the app to see if you have been selected. The camping will be taking place tomorrow night. There will be a camping briefing for those taking part. So again, just check in the daily programme for when that is. Of course, we do have the wait list. So if we have any cancellations, we will contact people on the wait list. If you want to cancel an activity for tomorrow, remember you need to cancel today. Otherwise, charges do apply. Perfect. The weather? It's looking good. Yes. We like sun, yes, around 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit with very, very light winds. And I'm sure you'll love to see this blue colour on our favourite weather app, Windy. Yes. Remember in the Drake, we had it up here at some points and higher. So we like blue. Winds 5 knots or so with gusts up to 10 knots. So not the 88 knots or so that we had in the Drake. Yes, so looks like another good day tomorrow. Is everyone excited? Yes. Wonderful. Today's not over though. So we have got our scenic sailing through the Le Maire Channel. The Le Maire Channel was first navigated by the Belgica expedition in 1899. When we pass through, you will have the continent on your right hand side and then Booth Island on your left. And as I said, it was first traversed in the year 1899. We are expecting to be entering the Le Maire Channel at approximately 10 o'clock. So slightly later than planned because we are a little bit delayed, but the sun does not set until around 11:30, so not a problem. The channel is 11 kilometers long and at its narrowest point 600 meters wide, so 6.8 miles long, around 0.4 miles wide at its narrowest point. The view is amazing, so please do come outside, enjoy the scenery, and again, wildlife can pop up at any time. Magnus at 21:45, so in about 20 minutes time, we'll be doing a little talk out on deck 7, a little bit of history and storytelling, and knowing Magnus about the Le Maire Channel. So if you want to join him, you've got some time to grab a jacket and head out to deck 7 and join him there. And that brings me to the end of my plans for tomorrow. I hope that was clear for everybody. If not, I've got time for a few questions, if anyone has any. Yeah.
Might be that this will not be a very good plan. They're stuck in the ice. They're hit by boredom. It is getting darker and darker. There is only one man who is having a good time. It is, of course, Roald Amundsen. He's going skiing. He loves it. He's meeting penguins. He even, believe me, it's true, he even tried to train penguins to pull his sledge. It did not work out. Anyway, it is getting darker and darker, and then in the middle of May, the sun sets down, and they will not see it again for 2 months. And people are getting depressed. In his diary, the Dr. Cook writes, "The darkness is coming around us all. There is no escape." And then, on the 6th of May, 1898, one of the scientists on board, the Belgian Damoy, dies of heart failure. His crewmates take the body on land, they wrap him in the flag, they put him in a sledge, and they make a solemn graveyard procession on the ice. Then they carve out a hole in the ice, and they take the body and they tip it into the water. The body goes down, but because of the buoyancy, it shoots up and looks them into the eye. His dead eyes is looking at them, and then it goes down again. Quite a few people have been running away already. It is getting even Or the mood on board is getting worse. They're running out of food. Scurvy is spreading around, as Peter have told you yesterday. And the only ones who are now enjoying themselves are the rats. And then, in the end of May, the ship's cat dies. And the name of the cat was, of course, Fridtjof Nansen. Very good. Still, they're stuck in the ice. Month after month, the men are going mad. One of them tries to run away from the ship to walk back to Belgium. And now we are in the autumn and the early winter. And the ship is still not loose. And the men are starting to understand the ice will not melt. We are now in early 1899. Still the ship is stuck. And on the 7th of January, the ship's doctor, Cook, comes up with an idea. They're only half a mile away from the opening of the ice. So they will take axes and they will carve a pathway out to the sea. It is an enormous amount of work. They're doing it with small axes. And they work and they work and they work for a month. And finally, they almost have a passage. And then they hear a creaking sound. And as they watch, you know what happens? The ice closes in again. The ship is trapped for another couple of days. And then, a miracle, the creaking sound appears again. And it is reopening the channel which they made. And now, it is all hands on deck. They take out the sail, they initiate the steam engine, and it's all power forward, and they're able to smash their way through the ice, and they get out, huzzah! And the Belgica sail out, and they sail north, and they more or less live happily ever after. Thank you. I know, that was brilliant. We're now quite close to the entrance. So what's going to happen now is that it will be a very interesting case of what we in Norway call slalom, as the ship has to sort of go in between the different icebergs.
अब हमें स्लैमर चैनल में एंटर करना है, जो कि बहुत ट्रिकी काम है। तो कैप्टन शिप को बहुत धीरे धीरे लेके जा रहा है। आप देख रहे हैं इधर दोनों तरफ बड़े बड़े पहाड़ हैं, लेफ्ट में एक बड़ा सा आइसबर्ग है, जो शायद फ़ोटो में इतना बड़ा नहीं लग रहा है, हकीकत में काफ़ी बड़ा है, इतना ऊंचा है जितना हमारा शिप है। तो अब उसके बीच में से इसको निकलना है और ये अच्छा खासा चैलेंज है। अब देखो इधर तो कितना ऊंचा पहाड़ है, दिख रहा है आपको, और यहाँ भी एक बहुत बड़ा पहाड़ है, बीच में पतला सा चैनल है, चैनल में भी एक आइसबर्ग खड़ा है। तो अनदर टाइटैनिक इन मेकिंग। शिप बहुत धीरे धीरे लेके जा रहे हैं। ये चैनल पहले जो इतना नैरो लग रहा था, अभी काफ़ी ब्रॉड हो गया पास आते आते, और ये 11 किलोमीटर लंबा है। The captain was saying it will take 1.5 hours to navigate through it, crisscross. दोस्तों सनसेट देखिए, ये क्या मैग्निफिसेंट सनसेट है एंटार्क्टिका में। और ये नहीं है कि इसके बाद रात हो जाएगी, रहेगा दिन ही, रोशनी रहेगी। और इस समय हम एक बहुत ही खतरनाक चैनल से गुजर रहे हैं, बहुत ही नैरो चैनल है, और कैप्टन को रियली में इसको ना स्टीयर करके शिप को लेके जाना पड़ रहा है। तो ये इससे पहले वाली क्लिप्स में आप देख चुके हैं उस चैनल को। दोस्तों मेरे को पक्का यकीन है आपने ऐसा सनसेट कभी ज़िंदगी में नहीं देखा, वो भी अंटार्कटिका का सनसेट। ये देखिए क्या लग रहा है यार, ये एकदम माइनस टेम्परेचर है, और ये देख रहे हैं हम कितने नैरो चैनल से निकल के आए हैं। एकदम टाइटैनिक वाला सीन हो जाता अगर कैप्टन जरा सा इधर उधर गलत स्टीयरिंग कर देता। तो ये देखिए क्या मस्त व्यू है, एकदम मैं ठंड से काँप रहा हूँ, लेकिन आप लोगों को दिखाने के लिए ना मैं हिम्मत करके डेक पे आ गया हूँ, और बहुत सारे लोग आ गए हैं इस समय डेक पे। और पता है इस समय आप विश्वास नहीं करोगे, रात के 11 बज गए हैं ऑलमोस्ट, और कितनी रोशनी है यहाँ पे ना। तो यहाँ पे रात ही नहीं होती है, और यहाँ पे इस समय पीक समर है, ये देखिए। तो बड़े ध्यान से ना कैप्टन को स्टीयरिंग करनी पड़ रही है, जैसे अब इतने बड़े आइसबर्ग से अगर ये शिप टकरा जाए ना तो डैमेज हो सकता है। तो हवा बहुत तेज़ चल रही है, कहीं फ़ोन ना गिर जाए मेरा नीचे पानी में। और ये देखो छोटी कितने आइसबर्ग्स है, ये देखिए इधर। और इस समय सारे लोग डेक पे आए हुए हैं, ये देखो कितने सारे लोग हैं। ये पहले सब लोग आगे थे। और यहाँ का पूल देखो, हीटेड पूल है ओपन, ये स्विमिंग पूल है इधर। और इधर जकूज़ी है, मैं भी सोच रहा हूँ कि जकूज़ी में घुस जाऊँ क्या मज़ा आएगा इधर एकदम। आता हूँ फिर मैं नीचे से ना कपड़े चेंज करके, कपड़े कहाँ पे चेंज करूँगा फिर मैं, अंदर रूम में टॉवल बांध के आना पड़ेगा। इसका मज़ा ले ही लेते हैं यार, ऐसा मौका कहाँ मिलेगा यार, ऊपर ठंड और अंदर आप गर्म पानी जकूज़ी में, दैट विल बी फन। और ये देखो ये टॉप पे है, चलो मैं भी ऊपर जाता हूँ, अभी वहाँ से भी देखता हूँ, आपको दिखाता हूँ। अब मैं शिप के सबसे टॉप मोस्ट पोर्शन पे आके ये क्लिप बना रहा हूँ, क्या सनसेट है देखिए। और ये इसी चैनल से हम निकल के आए हैं, लेमर्स चैनल है ये। और यहाँ ना थोड़ा काफ़ी कैप्टन को बड़े ध्यान से शिप को निकालना पड़ा, आप देख ही रहे हैं। चैनल ज़्यादा चौड़ा नहीं है और दोनों तरफ पहाड़ हैं, स्नो के और बीच में आइसबर्ग्स हैं। ये देखिए ऊपर, और ये नीचे आप देख रहे हैं, ये आपका है यहाँ पे ओपन जकूज़ी है, हीटेड। तो और नीचे पूल है, मैं भी सोचा इस जकूज़ी में घुस जाता हूँ। अभी 2 जकूज़ी है यहाँ पे। और देखो मतलब बाहर नेगेटिव टेम्परेचर और गर्म पानी में कितना मज़ा आएगा यहाँ पे। इधर देखिए आप सनसेट, और इसमें ना ये थोड़ा ये पानी जमा हुआ है और ये इसमें से ये बर्फ़ को ना तोड़ता हुआ जा रहा है, क्योंकि ये हल्की बर्फ़ है। और ये देखो ये वाला आइसबर्ग नहीं तोड़ सकता है शिप, ये बहुत ही बड़ा है। ये शिप का टॉप मोस्ट एरिया है, 11th फ्लोर। ये देखिए इसमें इन्होंने ना रनिंग ट्रैक भी बनाया हुआ है 150 मीटर का, आप चाहें तो यहाँ पे दौड़ सकते हैं। ये लिखा हुआ है देखो 1 लैप 150 मीटर। और अभी कैप्टन ने ना यहाँ शिप को रोक दिया है, रात के 11:05 हुए हैं, देखो घड़ी पे कितनी चांदनी है। और अभी सनसेट आपने देखा ही, ये देखिए क्या नज़ारे हैं। इधर देखो ऊपर कैसे वो एकदम गरम नहीं, ठंडे बादल बर्फ़ के उड़ रहे हैं। और यहाँ पानी एकदम शांत है। ये कैप्टन ने स्पेसिफिकली यहाँ पे शिप को रोका है, लोगों को ये है कि देख लें यहाँ से। तो मेरे को भी मौका मिला, मैंने कहा चलो आपको ये, क्योंकि अभी तक मैं आया ही नहीं था, इतने ही बिजी चल रहे हैं ना। और कल तो मेरे को रात को अंटार्कटिका पे सोना है, तो मेरे को निकला है सोने का लॉटरी में, क्योंकि 30 लोग ही जा पाएंगे, इतनी पॉसिबल नहीं है इन लोगों को लेके जाना। ये देखिए सामने वहाँ तो बर्फ़ की होल बना हुआ है सामने 2। ये शिप अब इस समय बिल्कुल रुका हुआ है। और ये कैसे ये करेगा मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, ये कहाँ से टर्न करेगा, या तो ये आगे जाके यूँ टर्न करेगा। ये छोटी जो फ्लोटिंग आइसबर्ग्स है ना, इससे तो ये शिप डरता नहीं है। इस मेरी लेंस के द्वारा मेरे सारे सब्सक्राइबर्स को अंटार्कटिका देखने का मौका मिल रहा है। मेरे को भी खुशी है कि चलो किसी भी माध्यम से आपको इतना डिटेल में अंटार्कटिका देखने को मिल रहा है, क्योंकि मैंने ना औरों के ब्लॉग्स देखे थे, काफ़ियों के ब्लॉग्स देखे थे, क्योंकि मेरे को बहुत इनपुट चाहिए था। मैं टोटली सोलो ट्रैवल कर रहा हूँ ना, तो मेरे को जितना भी सपोर्ट चाहिए था तो मैं कब के देखे, लेकिन इतना डिटेल में तो किसी ने नहीं दिखाया। उशवाया कितना डिटेल में उसकी हिस्ट्री बताई विनायका ने और वृंदा ने उधर, क्योंकि बस से वो हमको ले गए थे। और उसके बाद आज जो लैंडिंग की उसमें पेंगुइन्स वगैरह कितने क्लोज क्वार्टर से देखे मैंने, और ये सीन तो किसी ने दिखाया ही नहीं। ये जो सीन मैं अभी देख रहा हूँ और आप लोगों के साथ साझा कर रहा हूँ, ये किसी ब्लॉग में नहीं देखा हमने। देखा होगा तो मेरे को बताना।